Hi scholars, let's look at TEK 4.78. It says, I can illustrate the measure of an angle as the part of a circle whose center is at the vertex of the angle that is cut out by the rays of the angle. That's a really long TEK with lots of words we don't know. I'm going to go through all the words first and then I will teach the lesson. So let's get started. Okay, so the TEK talks about illustrating the measure of an angle as the part of a circle whose center is at the vertex. So vertex we know is the corner of an angle. The TEK talks about the vertex as being in the center of the circle. So we're talking about an angle that's in a circle. Okay? And then it talks about that angle being cut out. By cut out, they're talking about the shaded, unshaded. And then it says by the rays of the angle. So rays are the lines connected on the angle. So like right here and right here. It's like cutting it out. So I hope that kind of preps you as to what's going on. So let's read that TEK again. You can illustrate the measure of an angle as the part of a circle whose center is at the vertex of the angle that is cut out by the rays of the angle. Basically, you can show that. That's basically what the TEK is saying. And you can say how much of an angle it is or how much of a circle it is. So one thing we need to know is that we have right angles, okay? And that right angle is 90 degrees. So if I had two right angles, one on the right, one on the left, they are both 90 degrees. Together, they are 180 degrees. So if like the whole thing looked like that, you know, and you illustrated it like that, that's 180 degrees. So if I had another angle over here, 90 plus 90 plus 90, so like if I'm showing it like this, that whole angle, let's make all that disappear. You know, you can kind of just imagine 90 plus 90 plus 90 is 270. So imagine if we had another 90 degrees. So from here all the way around, that is 360 degrees. When you go all the way around, that's a circle. Okay? So if you think of like this, if you start here with 0 degrees and go all the way around, that is 360 degrees. So here is 90 degrees, a 90 degree angle. Here's another 90 degrees, which is two right angles next to each other, so that's 180. Here's another 90 degrees, which is 270. And then here's another 90 degrees, which makes it 360 degrees. So a full circle is considered 360 degrees. So looking at this circle, if I cut it anywhere in half, okay, together it's 360. But when I had cut it in half and I asked what is the angle, like what is the degree measurement of this, this would be 180 because half of 360 is 180. So 180 plus 180 equals 360. 360 divided by 2 equals 180. So if I took these and cut these into fourths like that, then I have 4 pieces. I'm going to lay it down here so you can see. I have 4 pieces. So that we're looking at 360 divided by 4 pieces equals 90 degrees each. And if you look very carefully, this is the most important part. There's your 90 degree angle that's cut out from the circle. So if you were to look at a visual, model, this is like what's cut out. That would be 90 degrees. Okay? So when we think of 90 degrees, we also need to think 90 degrees is 1/4 of a circle. See how my circle's cut into fourths? That's 1/4, that's 1/4, 1/4 plus and 1/4. So 1/4 of a circle is 90 degrees. 2/4 would be 180 degrees. 3/4 would be 270. And then 4/4 would be 360. So I'm going to take these and cut these in half, these fourths. So now I have 8 pieces. So the question is, what is the value of that angle that is shaded in the circle? Well, we do know several things. We know 1/8 of that circle is shaded or cut out, as we want to say, like the TEKs is. And if we want to know what the degree of that angle is, well, we know the whole thing is 360, right? So if I'm taking out 1/8 of it, if I'm taking out one piece, and there's 8 pieces, I would do 360 divided by 8. So 8, 16, 24, 32. So each one would be 45 degrees. So let's look at my circle that I cut. So this is 1/8 of a circle, or 45 degrees. So here is my circle. So let's imagine if that's 45 degrees, 45 plus 45 is 90. That means there should be a right angle formed. And as you can see, there is. So 45 plus 45 is 90, which means these two should be 90, which means these two should be 90, which means these two should be 90. 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90 equals 360. So I know that this is an accurate answer. Okay, so I'm going to take my circle and cut it into thirds. So I kind of had it ready. I just left it enough to where you could see. So I have this cut into thirds as best as I can. So the question is, how much is each piece worth? Well, if you have 360 degrees in a circle, okay, and I'm cutting into thirds, so what I'm going to do is show you 1/3 of a circle. Here is what hold on. Here's what 1/3 of a circle would look like. So I think I did a pretty close job. So if I'm cutting it into 3 pieces, that means each piece is 120 degrees. That means this right here, this angle right here is 120 degrees. And that seems accurate because if the corner of a piece of paper is 90 degrees, then this angle that I'm putting over here to check should be more than 90 degrees, and it is. So looking at this right here, we have 120 plus 120 plus 120. So when I check it, I get 360 as my answer. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all 3, which I did not do a good job of cutting neatly. I'm going to cut them again. So now this thing is cut into 6ths. So I'm curious, are you able to figure out how many degrees is 1/6 of a circle? So here's a visual. Here is 1/6 of a circle, like cut out, or however that TEK said it. So how much would 1/6 of a circle be? Here is the setup of all the pieces, and I want you to figure out what one piece could be. So how much would this be? Okay, so since a full circle is 360 degrees and I'm cutting it into 6ths, I want to know what 1/6 of a circle is. 6 goes into 36 6 times. 6 times 6 is 36. Bring the 0 down. 6 goes into 0 0 times. 0 times 6 is 0. So 60 degrees each. That means this is 60, 60, 60, 60, 60, 60. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. Add the 0 at the end. So that is very accurate. So suppose I was asked, well, what's the value of 2/6 of a circle? Well, if 1/6 is 60, 2/6 is 120, which is also 1/3 of a circle, because that's what I originally had. If someone said, what is 3/6 of a circle? Well, we know that's also half. Half of 360, as we talked about, is 180. So it all kind of connects and works together. Okay, before I wrap it up, I wanted to talk about one other thing. I want to talk about the fraction in two parts. And then I also want to talk about the degrees. So this was from an earlier video clip. This piece here is a 90-degree angle. We know that because it makes a perfect letter L. It is also 1/4 of a circle. So it's 1/4 and it's 90 degrees. It is also 90 degrees out of a full 360. I need you to know that. That is very important. 90 degrees is cut out of 360. So then this next one is 1 out of 2 pieces, right? We have 1 out of 2 cut out. We know that's 180 degrees because half of 360 is 180. So that means this is 180 360ths. This is another way to look at fractions. Here is kind of a better visual. Imagine this circle cut up into 360 pieces. Do you see that 350? After that 350 is 10 more little lines. Each little line that you see is 1 degree. This circle is cut into 360 little angles. So just that's what you need to visualize is going on here. So when you look at this picture, this is 3 out of 4 pieces shaded in. If each one is worth 90 degrees, then that makes the entire angle 270. Okay, so then the fraction would be 270 out of 360. This is like your very simplified fraction. This is simplest form, by the way. And this is like your equivalent fraction times, whatever. Times 90, in fact. Look at this. Watch this. Times 90 times 90, 270 over 360. Isn't that crazy? So let's look at this one. This is 1/3 shaded in. So if I were to times, well, no, I'm not going to say times 90. 1/3 of a circle is actually 120, if you remember from the other video. So that's 120 out of 360. So this is 120 degrees. And then this last one I wanted to go over, it is 1/6 of a circle, which means 1/6 of a circle is 60 degrees out of 360. There is one more I want to go over. I want to go over eighths because I did talk about it. 1/8 of a circle. So I believe we said it was 45 degrees because it's half of a right angle. So 45 over 360. So if I did this, that's 45 times 3, which would equal 120. So I hope this is a good introduction for you to kind of see how this works. If you want to learn more, there are definitely other videos you can watch.